This is probably one of the most important Fortnite videos you have ever seen in your entire life. And yes, as the thumbnail and the title says, this is about the biggest mysteries in the history of Fortnite Storyline, all of them being solved. Secrets that directly connect into this very season and especially to Dr. Doom. This mystery has mattered from the first season of this game, Chapter 2, Chapter 3 and especially Chapter 4. And now the 5th one. Then also a mystery that will fully explain to us what the whole upcoming Chapter 6 is all about. Again, this is one of the most important Fortnite videos you have ever seen in your entire life. What I'm gonna talk about in this video will completely change your view on this game. Especially will show you how important Chapter 4 was. You probably have like no clue whatsoever what that chapter's story was even all about. So listen carefully, my students, as Professor Lore begins cooking. Jeno and Dr. Doom, both of them have been some of the most important villains in the history of this game. Then also both are extremely similar characters. Both sides are super smart people. Then their main goal in life is creating perfection. Both of them stay in shadows while manipulating their enemies to destroy themselves. Both are beyond powerful with a crazy suit. Then magical powers, and both of them are egotistical people who think that only they know how to use a power right. Both are kings and rulers, as they have a full-on medieval knight art direction to their look too. Both of them also had a direct partnership working together, one which came up while Geno badly needed help for fighting against the Seven, and he chose Dr. Doom himself for help. But why? Because these two have been keeping contact with each other ever since the first time Doom came to Fortnite. And Geno likes him exactly because he feels how similar Doom is to himself as a person. But I have to say this before we keep going. If Geno likes Doom because he's a similar person to him, that means that Geno would also expect the way that Doom would act, or why he would even accept to join the organization. So then if so, why would Geno, someone who has a similar mindset to Doom, who would understand that Doom would never ever work for someone, why did Geno ask Doom to join them? Like, that is the dumbest thing ever. Causing Doom to get all of the information he needed out of the IO, getting powerful weapons or a magical cloak from the Ice King's collection, then using those same things to help the IO be destroyed by the Seven, not go against the Seven. Is Geno like genuinely that dumb to let this happen? Don't forget about what I just proved you. Geno is basically Doom himself in many ways, and to me personally he's even meant to be better than Doom and smarter. Then don't forget how in this very same comic and story, Geno lied to the Foundation about how he was dying. He lied and manipulated the Foundation to extreme levels, making us think that we're just done dealing with Geno. That right there is the part we should have focused on way more than we did. This entire thing and everything that happens was all Geno's plans. He can make a plan that crazy because just like Doom, Geno is supposed to be one of the smartest beings of all time. Scyan, are you dumb? Why would Geno plan for his IO to get destroyed? Fuck this, you're dumb. I'm gonna go watch T5G. Shut up! Geno was put in a really dangerous place. He was stuck between losing everything or temporarily losing everything. Let me fully explain this for you. The Seven completely messed up Reality Zero and broke many of the defense systems that Geno created. Systems which made sure that the last reality could never come to the island. The visitors rocket allowed a cube in here. Scientists brought another cube in. The end event allowed Galactus inside of Fortnite. The Foundation brought in the chromium to create the Spire. Then the same thing allowed Rust to get corrupted, causing an entire mothership to be teleported into here. Every single time the Seven just did anything, it ruined the defense system of the IO that kept the last reality outside the world. Then in Chapter 2 Season 8, it reached the point where Geno realized things have gone too far. The Seven have messed up the defense system he created so much to the point that there is no fixing it. So what did Geno choose to do? He accepted defeat against the Foundation. He basically created a trap, and the Foundation basically just like fell right into it. Geno knew that after everything that the Seven did, there is just no way in stopping the last reality from taking over whatsoever. So he chose to put all of the blame on the Seven instead. Make them look like the villains and show himself as a hero. Show us how when he was in control everything was awesome, we were safe, nothing really was happening. But right when the Seven got control, everything got ruined. Geno simply wanted the Seven to fail against the last reality instead of him. So he kinda tried to act like the IO is getting getting destroyed, and also acted like he's dying and we're free from him. Even though we know that he for sure lied, Geno just did that to make it look real enough so nobody would doubt his plan, that nobody being exactly Doom. Dr. Doom plays a huge part in Geno's crazy smart plan, but to make one of the smartest people ever actually fall for your trap, you need to make it seem as real as possible. So that's why he allowed the IO to be destroyed and faked his death. Therefore he can outsmart the smartest Marvel character. But why so? Well, my students, let Professor Lore blow your mind up. But like this video before I do so. And if you wanna always be updated on the Fortnite leaks, Fortnite news, and always see my new videos, or the latest news on many other super popular games, all of the latest news on gaming always gets posted in my Discord server, link in the description. The community in that place is so lovely, you're gonna love it. Let's now talk about why exactly would Geno need Dr. Doom in his plans. First of all, so Doom keeps the weapons of the Ice King away from the Seven to put them in his huge castle instead, as these weapons would be greatly useful to Geno in the future. Geno is definitely gonna go get those weapons for himself, I'm sure of that. He just didn't want the Seven or the last reality to get them, which is exactly where Doom came into play. Now the most important reason, it's because as Doom said himself, he wants the IO to fall so he creates his own version of it. Don't you see why Geno would want this to happen? Geno's IO already failed because of the Seven ruining the protections against the last reality. Why would he stick with a failing faction when he could build a way better version of it? Or so, the Fortnite Order restored. Doom right now is recreating the Imagine Order but under his own image instead. There you go, that was Geno's plans right there. That's basically the whole point of smart villains. You go through the path they want you to, but you just have no idea at all how brilliant their plans are. Doom will fail. He's not gonna be able to rule over a new Imagine Order, and Geno has always been sure of it. Do you realize how much Doom is helping Geno by creating a new Imagine Order? Rather than Geno returning having to take over the 0 point all over again, having to build defense and everything for the island all over again. Just so much work to make a new IO. Why would Geno ever do that, when you can just make someone else do all of the hard work for you, then steal their work and take ownership of it? You get it now? Geno knew that his IO would fail, so he allowed it to do so, and then abused the person with extremely similar personalities to him to create his new Imagine Order instead. But why did he choose Doom for all of this? Cause Dr. Doom will create an Imagine Order exactly how Geno would too. These two people are like brothers mindset wise, which is exactly why I'm saying right now, Geno will for sure be the main villain of chapter 6, and Order Restored will be the new chapter coming up, and right when Doom falls to us and fails, which his failure would definitely also be by the manipulation of Geno, he comes in and takes over the new IO Doom has created, and evolve it into the final form. But of course Geno's plans and manipulations would not just end by faking his death. There is just so much he needs to do for making sure that he can recreate a new IO better than the one before. That's even shown to us by how IO is within the Lego world right now, having their iconic bunkers there too. They are waiting in realities right near reality 0, just counting days for the right moment to teleport into this place. But the chapter which built up the story arc of Geno coming in chapter 6 is this one, yes. The chapter that like 99% of the Fortnite community have like absolutely no idea what happened in the storyline. What was it all about? The shipless man? Who shipless man? Me shipless man? So my students, let Professor Lore exactly show you what you missed out on, because chapter 4 story, the things that were said, they were kinda cool. Do you remember the shipless man? Yes, the coolest yet the most annoying part of the Fortnite story. This guy right here thinks that it's Geno, and then this guy used to think that it's Geno, then he was like, nah, it's actually the nothing. Then this other guy also thinks that it's the nothing. Then we got this guy. He thinks that it's Kate of Thorns. Huh? What? Nah. The guy didn't even make it to the end of his own season. He just died by a bunch of like high schoolers. You suck. The answer to who the shipless man is was always right in front of our eyes. We were just so focused on a random unimportant line, which was,
he imagined a world of perfect order.
Useless. That's a useless line, because Doom, Geno, the Nothing, all of them technically want like a perfect order of their own version. So it's like, All that line did was to smack Geno in the face even more, since he never was told to want like a perfect world or anything. Here is every single line you should have focused on that Stellan said, rather than he always imagined the world of perfect order.
He watches us with dark purpose.
Who is a person that has a whole watching thing built around him in this season? A massive tower you can watch all of the people on the island from, cameras everywhere. This line brought upon him and even more. Dr. Doom. Who did I say that is extremely similar to Doom? Jeno, yes. What would Jeno be doing right now since he's in the shadows and not building the IO himself for the moment? He is watching us, waiting for us ourselves to make the new IO first.
If we do not finish the rift gate, the consequences will be terrible.
If you're building a rift gate for someone that their whole point is to kill you, destroy you, turn you into pieces, someone like the Nothing, like that kind of makes no sense. Why would the Nothing be like, good boy, you built me a rift gate, good boy, I'm not gonna kill you anymore. No, he would just beat the shit out of you as much as... Doesn't matter if you build him a rift gate or you don't, he kills you anyways. So why would the fate be terrible if we don't build the rift gate? Cause not building the gate means that the person waiting for it to be built so he can come through it, he just can't do that anymore. So if the person on the other side wants the Nothing, wouldn't that be a good thing that he can't come on the island? Because even if he comes like 1 second faster, that's 1 second less time to run away from the Nothing. This means that yes, the shipless man himself is a bad person, but if we don't create his rift gate, if his plans don't go forward, an even worse fate than that guy would come to us. Doesn't that exactly sound like Jeno to you? Yeah, he's a bad person, but he always protected us from even worse things like the last reality.
I came to the Earthbound at the order of the Shapeless Man.
This line is so important. Why did everybody like mostly ignore it? Coming in the order of the Shipless Man means that Stellan was never really part of this world. He is new to this place like us. This Shipless being directly orders Stellan to come to Ageless. So even doing that was not this guy's own choice, which makes make more sense, especially after this line.
When I was young, the Shapeless Man came to me, and dreams took me in as his own.
Stellan was just a child when the Shipless Man met him for the first time and made connections with him in his dreams. Then not just that, it said that the Shipless Man legit took Stellan as his own. That means that this person does not see Stellan as a random person, someone to just manipulate or an enemy, but rather the Shipless Man sees Stellan as a friend, as maybe even a kid of his own. The Shipless Man wants Stellan to grow stronger and someone who would be a great value to him. Explain to me how this part makes sense with the Nothing or Dr. Doom. On Doom's side, there is just no way that he met Stellan as a kid, and that they knew each other for Stellan's whole life. The entire Doom manipulating us thing happened ever since Chapter 3 Season 2, not ever since Stellan was a kid. He's also centuries older than Dr. Doom, which is shown off even more with this line.
I did not dream of him for centuries. Your refined kinetic ore returned him to me.
Stellan is centuries old. He's a very powerful being, someone who can see the stars with his own eyes and read them. He is, as the name says, a Reef Warden, and the Shipless Man probably sensed the powerful nature inside of Stellan and because of that took him as his own. When Stellan was a kid, Jeno basically adopted him, which kinda makes it ironic because Jeno Snapshot the Ageless also took in Stellan as his own. Coincidence? Nah! As the line said, our refined kinetic core caused the Shipless Man to manipulate Stellan after centuries. The kinetic core has kind of like a galaxy look to it. Then Stellan sees galaxies and stars with his powers, and the kinetic core is exactly what allowed the creation of the Rift Gate. Maybe the magic of that material is the same magic that exists within Stellan, allowing him to have the powers which he has and that creating the direct connection. But now who is the person which centuries ago discovered the kinetic core, creating his own suit out of the kinetic core and many other weapons out of it, vehicles or devices to control the 0 point? Stellan was manipulated as a kid by the Shipless Man, because that might have been exactly when Jeno discovered the kinetic core, connecting to that material or building a suit out of it, causing Jeno to see the imagination of a perfectly ordered world, and especially directly connect with Stellan. So now that once more the energy of the refined kinetic core was activated in Chapter 4, thanks to the snapshot of Jeno himself as well, Stellan can once more feel and speak with this man which he met as a kid. Why would Jeno, the main owner of the kinetic core and the man who built so much technology out of it, why would he not be able to use the refined kinetic core on the island island and the devices he has created in the past to directly connect with Stellan again.
Each night I dream of stars, swallowed in darkness, and the shapeless man waiting.
Dreaming of stars swallowed in darkness, of course, is the last reality destroying realities. And when Stellan talks about stars, I'm pretty sure he means realities. He's looking at realities being destroyed. And in chapter 4, the last reality was going rampage, destroying so many realities before coming to the island in the last season. But then after that, Stellan said the shipless man waiting. There you go, that right there. The shipless man is showing these things to Stellan because of a very important reason. Why would Stellan build a rift gate for someone that is like, "Ooh, I'm bad, I will smack you if you don't listen to me"? Okay then, if you're a bad man, then why would I build you a rift gate for someone? The rift gate would make you come to me faster. Why would I build the rift gate? Why? I don't know actually, that's a good point. But now think of it as if Stellan did it in this way instead. I'm a bad man, build me a rift gate because if you don't do that, another bad man will come to you. Hey, Stellan, would you rather build me a rift gate so I can stop that guy, or deal with it yourself? Do whatever the hell you wanna do to stop the last reality. Oh damn, I guess I have no other choice but to create this rift gate then. See, when you hear Fortnite voice lines or when you go through the Fortnite story, you gotta get this brain and go, whoa, you gotta think outside the box. The shipless man is showing Stellan of our doomed future. Well then, how does he know of the future even? The answer to that comes from the Zero War comics, where the High Evolutionary saw the future by connecting with the piece of the 0 point. Geno had the 0 point under his control for thousands of years. Of course he would see what the High Evolutionary would see too. That seen future being the end, also the victory of the last reality and all of the universes being destroyed except one. The future seeing thanks to the 0 point is the very reason that Jeno has put his entire life into protecting us, as he has said himself. This guy is trying his best to stop the end of all realities, the vision that the 0 point showed him. The perfection side of things is the only part that makes him kind of like a villain at the same time too, and how he would do anything to reach his goals just like Doom, no matter if the thing he is doing is morally good or not. But at least he has genuinely been protecting us for years now, and that's exactly why Stellan builds the gate. He knows that Geno can save us, also the shapeless man, but also he knows Geno is still a bad person. That being exactly why it was really hard for him to go through this plan. So as said, the shapeless man has shown a genuine reason to Stellan why he needs to hurry and build the gate, while he's just waiting for that to happen. This line proves that even more.
I do not wish for us to succeed, but we will all suffer if we fail.
I do not wish for us to succeed because Stellan knows that Geno is a villain, but we all suffer if we fail because the last reality would come instead of Geno. An even worse group of people, which they actually did come. The shipless man was not wrong. When the rift gate failed, we got last reality people on the island instead. But now to end these voice lines off.
The rift is growing. I sleep without dreams. The shapeless man thinks he has won.
Doesn't that sound like something that Dr. Doom would say? When something goes wrong, like his mother hated him after she got saved from Mephisto. Doom still said even his mother hated him was part of the plan. And again, Geno and Doom are extremely similar characters. Geno would do such a thing too, just like he did as the shapeless man here. And him being a shapeless man seems to be a power he has gained through the 0 point. Seems like Geno can become shapeless. And he took the same form when manipulating Stellan's dreams. We have been teased of Geno having inhuman weird powers that can change his body. The teaser was in the Zero War comics when Wolverine had a hard time understanding Geno and saw him as many people, not just one. I doubt Geno would not be able to gain shapeless powers through experimenting on the 0 point. Of course he could do that. The 0 point is legit the god of this game. But not only Geno seems to have crazy powers, Stellan too. When the rift gate fell, Stellan grabbed some information that he could gather in the gate from the shapeless man itself.
This data is catastrophic. Perhaps the forbidden works of our exiled sages. They might have the answers we seek. This text prophesies a beautiful monster enabled by the hubris of a champion.
Hubris means self-confidence. We're the most self-confident people to ever exist in fiction. One of those is Doom, who thinks that there is no one as smart as him. Then the other is Geno, who also thinks the same thing. And not just hubris, but also a champion. You really think that Ageless was called the champion for no reason? These are all carefully put together pieces of puzzles, just put here, 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 and you gotta find all of them and put the pieces together and voila, you have solved the puzzle. And so the self-confident champion is Jeno himself. Then the monster part, the beautiful monster that was enabled by Jeno, has to be Stellan himself. The enabling probably happened when he was a child because as said he met Jeno centuries ago. And the enabling will happen again now that Jeno is speaking to him once more. Now how do we know that it's definitely Stellan? Lexa thankfully proved that by saying that the sages were right about Stellan. Probably talking about how the sages called the Stellan a beautiful monster. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gay, but looking at this man, he looks hotter than girls. A monster which Jeno apparently sometimes abuses or enables for his goals. Maybe the first time Stellan was turned into a monster which could look like this design, which would be amazing. Maybe the first time Stellan was turned into a monster was for the creation of the IO and Jeno needed him. And now that the original IO is gone, Jeno needs Stellan to become a monster once again so they can together create a new IO yet again. What if I tell you that the monster you see in Dr. Stone's loading screen, that's Stellan right there. And that's directly why Dr. Stone told this to him. She knows what Stellan truly is, even if he doesn't. Dr. Stone is the closest person to Jeno that we know of. Jeno probably showed her how the IO was even created. And the beautiful monster seen here is exactly how. Thanks to Stellan, this dream became possible. And Dr. Stone telling Stellan, even if you don't know, that's because the Rift Warden has lost a huge amount of his memories. He doesn't know his actual name, he doesn't know if he even has a family. Stellan has almost no memories. The only ones he has are merely the ones as a kid, before the shipless man found and adopted him somewhat. Then right from that moment he remembers nothing else after it. Because when Stellan evolved into his monster form, the monster is kind of like how Hulk works in the Marvel movies. The human doesn't know what Hulk does. So Stellan also doesn't know what his monster version is doing. This means that hopefully, if I'm right, chapter 6 is all about the order restored. Jeno will force Stellan to become a monster again, and we will get to watch the process of how Jeno creates an IO, the things that are needed to be done for such a thing, and how exactly Jeno managed to protect us from the last reality for so many years. Maybe Stellan is exactly how he got access to the Chromium event, since if you didn't know, the Spire Assassins were Imagine Order workers. So that was the full story of the shipless man and Stellan in season 1. But now you see how important Jeno has been ever since chapter 4. But he also played a big part in season 3 coming after it too. The Riftgate failed and it allowed last reality being seen instead. And that caused the last reality to reveal a secret jungle under us. Doing that because they needed to attract Kado Thorns in, because he has a bunch of stolen artifacts that the last reality needs. One of those artifacts was something from the destroyed home of Nox and Aurora. Maybe Kado Thorns stole the very heart of the realm this to come from. So the thing which Kado stole caused, as said, Nox's world to be taken over by darkness, and that whole realm being destroyed. So Nox needed Kado here to take back the heart of his realm, and use that to reboot his realm once again. That's why I believe the last reality revealed the jungle, and why Nox did everything within chapter 4. Hopefully because of this, one day we get to actually see this realm, go through it, see Nox, see like Aurora. That would be amazing. Maybe that realm is where we are right now, I'm not sure, but I do hope we get answers on that. But I do finally have answers on who the Fair Triarch was. I just said that Stellan should be a powerful monster which Jeno took away, one who doesn't remember his past. Now mix that up with how Tater brought up to me the design of Stellan being extremely similar to Nox and Aurora, all of them being super thin and skinny looking too. And Aurora told us that the Fair Triarch just vanished, which could have also played a part in this world's downfall. Maybe the Fair Triarch vanished because Jeno sensed him and stole him. And pretty much yeah, it seems like we have learned of these Triarch rulers because they are directly connected to Stellan. But then something else also happened once the jungle got revealed. Dr. Stone, one of Geno's closest workers, got saved by Relic, and someone left a map in the jungle for her to find. For a long time I said that someone has to be the shipless man, cause the map is what caused Dr. Stone to explore the jungle. It's what caused her to discover the last reality flying right towards us, and our doom coming, the death of us.
There is grave danger on the horizon. The power that once flowed through your island has faded, and formidable enemies have taken notice.
That is also what made Stone figure out a plan for saving all of us. Time traveling to extract all of us into where the people of the jungle escaped in 2 years ago. A world which is directly the answer to what this whole chapter 5 world we are in right now all about. You see how the Imagine Order logo has 6 different small icons on it. To me, one of these is representing Reality Zero, so being exactly why everybody on the map wore that one. The other 5 represent people of 5 other realities. Yeah, I know that some of you don't believe the 5 realities, you think that is bullshit and things like that, which how dare you? How dare you? You hate on the 5 realities, I will beat. To me, the 5 realities are 100% a fact. The 5 realities are Mega, Jungle, the All-Found, Frozen, and Greek. 4 of those we saw a chunk of them in chapter 4, but 1 of them never came. Yet, Kado Force had a place only with collections from the 5 realities and nowhere else. We got the Jungle, All-Found, Frozen, and nothing from Mega because Mega is the reality he was born within. Kado wouldn't really steal from his own home, yet all of the things and the collections I just showed you are things that were on the chapter 4 map, they were not from anywhere else. But in the middle of all of those, one of the collections was nowhere to be found on the map. The 5th collection is a shield icon of a reality that the location of it was rifted into chapter 2 season 5. A Roman Empire themed place that I told everyone from day 1. That is exactly where the Greek reality comes from too. I said from the day 1 that there will be a Greek season coming up and it's from the same reality as this one. And how Midas or Oro, all of those people are from the Greek realities too. How they will probably be part of the Greek season coming up to complete the 5 chunks of the 5 realities. Well, again, the collections that Kado was putting into this place, all of them were from the chapter 4 map. But this one, only this one is not from chapter 4. It basically is what I was saying to be true. Then fast forward to chapter 5 starting. The same shield is still with us. And now fast forward to the Greek season. The Emperor Pili of Colossal is shown to be part of the Greek world. He is even drawn on some of the walls or there are statues of him. The shield designs have a really similar look to these, or just many other props from chapter 2 season 5 place right here, like this book which speaks of Pandora's box, meaning that Jeno also always knew of not only this Greek reality but also Pandora's box itself, because if you remember, Colossal was fully under control of Io with their logos all over it. Same thing with the jungle as well. Then we got a jungle in chapter 4 and then Greek world came in chapter 5. Here is something that I have just figured out. Those 6 logos again. One of them shows the IO workers in the loop, especially Dr. Sloan. One shows Geno and his all-found reality. The 3rd one shows the frozen reality and someone from them that works for the IO. 4th shows the jungle and someone that works for IO. Then finally 5th showing the Greek reality and someone who works for the IO, which directly comes from the Greek world. Midas! Yes, that someone is Midas. Remember when Io said the inner circle? To me personally, the inner circle is one leader from each of these 6 realities. So this should finally show you why Paradigm exactly chose these chunks of the worlds to be brought for creating chapter 4. Or why the shipless man got happy of the mega reality coming from this crack. It's because Paradigm was trying to save us with the origin of the Imagine Order. Exactly what Dono Mustard himself tweeted about. We were watching the early days of Io. These early days are people of the 5 realities coming together, and by lead of Jeno, they create the Imagine Order, and that's exactly why they're the most important realities out of any other. Maybe the female beside the frozen reality is even the mother of Imagine and Order, the person, the leader from the frozen reality that joined the inner circle, making Jeno marry her and the Imagine and Order being born from it. Then maybe what Jeno did to Imagine and Order, which was throwing them out and wiping out their memories, that could have caused Geno's wife to divorce him and leave him, and so she joined with the 7 instead, aka the she that Foundation brought up here, that she could be Geno's wife, this statue. That also would completely explain why the Foundation right here asked about the sisters, if that she which he talked about is the mother. So you finally see how important chapter 4 was. Yeah, it was kind of hard to figure out, it was a little bit messy because of the metaverse, but still the things that were told to us, they were actually planned, there were things behind it and they do matter. And yeah, it's gonna be hard for us to figure out what the story even was about, but when you start to figure out chapter 4's story, it's actually kinda cool. And I'm telling you, we're still following through the same story from chapter 4. Kado teasing the Greek reality and the Greek reality actually happening, while Midas, the person from the Greek world which was in Io's inner circle, returning too. Or Jones referencing the 7 in this chapter, the ones that were chromed teleported into the mothership and they're still being corrupted by the nothing. Or just so much talks about the history of chapter 4. If all of this and how the Marvel season or Doom is directly the continuation of the Zero War comics, the same comics that fully explain Geno in them. If none of this prove you that chapter 4 story still matters, chapter 3, chapter 2, all of the past story, I don't know what does anymore. Why? Why? The Zero War comic story being continued right now means that Geno will be a big important villain in chapter 6, and that chapter will be Order Restored, so recreating Geno's imagined order, which I said that Geno or the shipless man put this map for a zone to find it. Why? If the 5 realities are what I just said them to be, then someone from that jungle works for Geno and in the inner circle, so that making Geno know everything about that reality. So basically he knew how the people of that reality survive running away from the enemies. He tried to show the same thing to Sloan with this device to make her save all of us, probably telling Stellan in his dreams to put that device there for Sloan to find it. And through that, Geno showed Dr. Stone how time travel is our answer, and he directly caused us to survive, because even if you check here, Dr. Stone said that her intentions for saving us are not pure but noble. It's the same thing as Geno. He wants to save us, but his intentions for saving us are not pure. Creating a perfect order is not a good thing. Now if the same thing is said about Dr. Stone here too, showing how she's still not really a good person, what if that's exactly our answer to why she's just suddenly gone in this chapter, nowhere to be found? What if she genuinely wants the IO recreated like Geno, and that's where the not pure intentions come from? That's being exactly why Optimus Prime said that he doesn't know if we can fully trust her, but we had no other choice. She even right now, right at this moment, might be on the side of Geno again, taking over Dr. Doom's perfect society once it's ready, and that exactly being why we don't see her yet, cause Dr. Stone and Geno are waiting, but we will see them in chapter 6 together once more, beginning Order Restored. And that right there being what chapter 6 is gonna be all about. Why Geno is gonna be the main villain. It might be because Midas is planning to make his device actually work this time and truly break the loop, so we can all go home to Fortnite open world. Then I believe once Midas does that, he also goes to his home world too, since Midas' story from chapter 6 will be told instead in open world. Loop breaking means that Battle Royale cannot exist anymore. That means that yes, the story of VR would be finished, no more. Which that's kinda also another reason why I said that the shipless man or Geno will be coming in chapter 6. If the loop breaks, it needs to be recreated and restored, so Stellan the monster probably will be a great help to restore the loop, and Order Restored would mean the loop being restored as well. That also being why the Loop Breaker project was brought up in chapter 3 season 4.
Ask Jones about the Loop Breaker project. He thinks it's confidential. It's not.
Yeah, because he keeps telling everyone about it. Why don't you extract everything he knows before he figures out what top secret means?
Because this Order Restored storyline was meant to happen at the ending of chapter 3 itself, but it was delayed, making Fortnite do the whole chapter 4 story thing. So I believe that finally the Loop Breaker project will happen in OG2 by Midas, and the loop and the order will be restored right away when chapter 6 starts. As just like Mustard says, we're watching the early days of IO, how exactly it got created, and how the inner circle was created by one person per 5 realities. Then the 6th person, the 6th leader being the person inside of the loop. That's even the whole reason why they made Ageless a thing. The Ageless is helping us slowly see how Geno himself became a thing. Geno's past is somewhat being shown off to us by the Ageless, so when he arrives, we get to understand him as a character better. Like this video if you're brave, but kaboom, bam, kaboom, by everything that Professor Lord just explained to you, all of it. And before Geno comes back, click on this video right here to learn way more about Dr. Doom, everything about him and this season, because like you now understand how important he is.